There's this movie called Moonlight with Nicolas Cage and Cher. And one character says to another, why, essentially, paraphrasing, why is it that young men essentially are obsessed with having sex with young women? And one of the characters says, because it is a fear of death. I remember watching that and being like, I was watching it with my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, that's a stupid response. Like that's a very silly thing to say. It's dumb. It's one of those things that's supposed to sound good or whatever, sounds smart or something, but it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't mean anything. But after a while, I thought about it and I realized that it's true. It's completely true. Because when you're a single guy, when you're a young man, that's pretty much the most important thing. That's what dudes want. That's what I was mostly consumed with when I was younger and single. I'm 34 now and married, so I'm not young and single. And I was consumed with just, you know, the ladies, if you will. And, um, and I've had some serious relationships before this and all that, some long relationships. But I always found myself being like, other girls, and like, getting married was always very scary because like, oh, I'm gonna have sex with one girl for the rest of my life, which is not how I don't think about that at all anymore. And but when you're single, you're just like, oh, I just want to be hooking up with girls, and I'd find myself, and like I said, most guys that are single are this, that's all they care about. When you think about it, it's just like, all right, you hook up with another girl or a girl, and then there's times where it's like right afterwards you want to do it again, or that's what I've experienced. And so it's just like, what would be ideal? Just to be in a constant state of sexual intercourse, sexual ecstasy, and it's just as soon as you're done with one, you get into just have another one. That would be ideal. If you were like a king, that's all you're doing, just banging everyone all the time. You're just constantly in a state of just ejaculation, just like 24/7. You're retarded. And what is at the root of that, to a certain degree, maybe a large degree, is the desire to get back to the womb, just to be in a constant state of bliss. Like when you're in the womb, you're just a warm little baby, and that's all you know. It's just being in this amniotic sac. You don't have to do anything. Nutrients are pumped in you. It's like the fucking Matrix. And and the reason why someone wants that is because they are immature. That is not what humans are supposed to be. That's not what men are supposed to be doing, just busting loads all the time. And the reason, and to attach it to the fear of death, because it is this the wanting to have sex all the time, and with younger girls because they're over 18, of course, because they are youthful. Reminds you of youth, and old people remind you that you're gonna fucking die. You're gonna get old and die. So I don't want to think about that. This desire just back to the womb is the complete opposite of like, I'm going to live life fully. I'm going to go through this gauntlet of life to get to the other side, which is death. That's the right way to live. So, want to have sex all the time is a fear of death. It's a desire to be not even an infant, but back to inside of a womb, to be a fetus, which I don't like that term. I'll just use baby. A baby inside a womb. It is quite literally very childish. And I've been reading this book right now about the Crusades. Some of these dudes were badass. Kings, leaders of their people group, literally at the front lines, charging against outnumbered armies. These guys were leaders. And the suburbs growing up, I was born in 90, did not provide, I might be trying to cover too much right now, but that's fine. The suburbs growing up did not provide adequate guidance for boys to grow up and be men. Because this boomer idea ultimately is the same thing of this I want to get back to the womb. Just they just wanted everything to be safe. It's all about safety, job security, retirement, 401k, unions. I'm not disparaging any of those things specifically, but it's all just about need to be secure. You make sure everything's secure, safe, everything's safe and sound, no problem. But that's not what life is. You're supposed to, I think life is a gauntlet. That's what you're supposed to get through it. And that's the thing. You can't just be like, all right, I'm good. I don't need to do it. I'm just going to chill in this womb. Or I'm just going to spend my whole entire life just trying to bust nuts the entire time. You have to live through it. And the only way to do that is to live correctly, is to do what you're supposed to do. And that can get really vague and abstract. You can get all philosophical and theological. Each person has their own path, and it is different from moment to moment. If you pay attention, you will figure out what you're supposed to do through trial and error, through paying attention, reading books, getting out there, making mistakes, listening to other people, noticing who you admire, implementing. Onward and upward always. Peace and love.